One day, an old man was running from criminals chasing him. He reached a dead end and the criminal pulled out his weapon and was about to kill him. But suddenly, a young man intervened, grabbed his hand and broke it. At that moment, the criminal was terrified of his strength, let him go and walked away. At that time, the old man looked at Seiji and thanked him, saying that those who defend people like you should be the ones with power, not anyone else. He took something resembling a seal from his bag and handed it to him, and as soon as it touched his hand, the seal also merges with his body and becomes a tattoo on his hand. The young man doesn't understand what's happening to him and asks the old man about the tattoo, but he doesn't respond and just leaves. The day ends like that. The next day, Seiji is running late for his class. A girl suddenly appears in front of him and he almost bumps into her, but her reaction is very quick and she punches him, sweeping him off his feet. As soon as she realizes what she did, she goes to Seiji and says, "I'm sorry." She says, "That was my reaction and I didn't mean to hurt you." She reaches out to help him up and suddenly they both feel a jolt of electricity. At that moment, the girl gives him a strange look, then leaves. "It seems like there's something going on, my friend." Anyway, Seiji gets up and continues on his way as usual. He arrives at the class, still thinking about the mark on his hand and why it won't come off. His friends notice he's distracted and not talking. They ask him, "What's wrong with you? Why are you so quiet? Just tell us what's bothering you." He tells them what happened and says, "I just want to know what this mark on my hand is." He wishes he had run away when the girl touched his hand. His friends are puzzled by his words, not understanding anything, except for one of them who talks to him and says that the government has developed new weapons which are essentially seals that give the bearer immense power. "Maybe the flower is playing with you, buddy," but Seiji tells him no. "I didn't feel any change in my body and this talk isn't true." At that moment, Toko enters, Seiji's girlfriend, and they live together in the same house. She tells him, "Come with me so we can go get groceries for the house." He refuses and tells her, "I'm tired and I don't know if I can come." She gets upset by his words, and indeed, she is not in control at all, and Seiji didn't go with her. Anyway, Toko goes to buy what she wants and Seiji stands waiting for her. After that, he goes to talk on the phone. He is surprised by the girl he bumped into calling out to him, "You tell him I question what you did with me," leading to him. Suddenly, he finds that she has taken his phone and is running away. But do you think he would let her go, my friend? No way! Seiji keeps chasing her. The girl was fast and he couldn't catch up with her. She reaches an abandoned factory and enters it. He follows her inside, and as soon as he enters, he finds her unexpectedly. Just as he's about to speak, she asks him, "Where did you get that seal from, you fool? You must be with the traitors and you need to buy time." The boy doesn't understand anything and is about to speak when she attacks him. He dodges her with difficulty and doesn't want to attack her. Her moves are very difficult compared to... She strikes with all her might and he blocks her blow, but his wrist gets injured. At that moment, Seiji gets angry and tells her, "I won't go easy on you anymore." He grabs her hands and was about to slam her to the ground, but before she falls, she grabs. She takes his phone and smashes it on his head. Before he can recover, he finds the leg of her plane coming at him again, hitting him from every direction, and he doesn't know what to do with her. She knocks him down and flies into the air with her weapon, ready to kill him. At that moment, Seiji realizes these are his last moments, but the girl doesn't hit him. She lands the sword next to his head and doesn't kill him. She's surprised by what he did and realizes that he truly knows nothing about these seals or the power he possesses. Seiji also regains his senses and asks her why she did that, why she stole his phone and was about to kill him when he doesn't understand what's happening. The girl steps back from him and says, "I'm sorry, my name is Izzy, one of the intelligence members." She shows him the seal on her hand and tells him that she came to retrieve the seal he has, and that this seal grants its owner extraordinary power. She takes out a piece of chalk and holds it with the hand that has the seal, activating it. Then she gathers air in her hand and forms it into a bomb, causing a big explosion. Seiji can't believe what he's seeing. She tells him, "Look man, this is just 1% of the power of the seal I have." At that moment, he is shocked and asks her, "Seiji, why do you want to collect these seals and kill their owners?" She tells him that there are people who have used their power to harm others and enslave them, and many countries have learned about the power of this seal and want to exploit it in wars. That's why the state appointed us to retrieve these seals before they spread around the world. Seiji understands her words, and at that moment he was very tired, so he leaves her and walks away. As soon as he gets home, his grandfather starts scolding him, saying, "How could a girl steal your phone and make a fool out of you? It seems like all these years of education have been wasted on you." By the way, his grandfather is a retired military officer. He is the one who taught him to defend himself and help the weak. He tells him that he needs to spend extra hours at the club to learn many things so that no one can take advantage of him like that. Seiji agrees, and the next day he is sitting in class, and his classmates are curious about what happened to his face, but he doesn't tell anyone anything. Izzy was also in the building opposite his classroom watching him. Her assistant tells her that they must hand him over to the government as required, because if anyone finds out that you let him go, then we will all be punished, but Izzy tells him no. Seiji doesn't deserve to die or have anything happen to him. The seal got to him by accident. I will keep watching over him and he won't be out of my sight for a moment, and we won't report the seal he has to the authorities. The assistant tells her, all right, and indeed, she keeps an eye on him everywhere. Seiji notices that she's watching him, but he doesn't show her anything. On his way home, he, or Toko, senses her presence and realizes she's watching them. She turns around and asks her, what do you want from us? She keeps yelling at her and was very upset because she thought she was spying on them and wanted to... But Seiji calms her down and tells her, go home, I'll talk to her and see what she wants from me. And indeed, she leaves and walks away. He goes to Izzy and talks to her, saying, I don't believe anything you said yesterday. I held a piece of chalk and tried to activate the seal like you told me, but nothing happened. She tells him, no, it's not like you think. Every seal is different from the other and gives a different power. As a result, it requires something different to activate it. In other words, you will... And at that moment, it clicks, and you realize that this is what activates your seal. Suddenly, while they were talking, they find a Link running towards them, looking like a criminal. Seiji pushes her away from him. He grabs his hand and gives him a perfect suplex. Well done. And another one with the elbow, breaking it. Izzy claps for him and says, well done, hero. Then she goes to see who was chasing him. She is shocked when she finds her assistant. He tells her that this is the one with one of the powerful seals. He doesn't finish his sentence before he sees Seiji take a hit. Wilson's seal activates and he says to them, come on you bunch of cheese. Izzy is about to attack him, but Seiji stops her saying, leave this to me. As long as he's a criminal, it doesn't matter if he's marked or not. I'll kill him myself. He attacks with all his strength, but Wilson is very powerful and attacks him back. Seiji barely deflects his attack and doesn't know how to hit him from any angle. He tries from every direction, but Wilson's body is too massive for him. He stops to think about how to deal with someone like him and how to strike him, but Wilson doesn't. Attacks him, and at that moment, Seiji dodges his attack and punches him, thinking it would have some effect, but he finds Wilson grabbing his head and smashing it into the asphalt beneath him. Another punch lands in his stomach, and Seiji is at his limit. Wilson keeps mocking him while Seiji doesn't know what to do, preparing to kill him. And that's it. This is your end, my friend. At that moment, Seiji realized these were his final moments. Izzy and Tom see what happened to him and want to help, but they were too far away. Suddenly, just before Wilson strikes Seiji to kill him, his seal activates, emitting a massive aura from his hand, leaving everyone in disbelief. Wilson takes a single hit from the plane and it finishes him off. Everyone is shocked by what's happening. This is the Infinite Seal, one of the rarest seals that doesn't require a tool to activate. But at that moment, Seiji collapses and they don't know if he's alive or what happened to him. They take him home, and when he wakes up, he finds all his wounds have disappeared and he no longer feels any pain. They tell him, thank God for your safety and congratulations, man. You have the Infinite Seal. It's the strongest of the seals, capable of creating a massive void that could swallow the entire world. To activate it, you don't need anything, because with the first drop of blood that touches your hand, it will activate automatically. The boy is thrilled to have this power, but they tell him, don't get too excited, dear, because you have two options. Either we kill you and take the seal now, or you work with us and help us gather the rest of the seals. What do you think about that? The boy gets angry and tells them, no. I'm not going to follow you, and I'm not going to kill anyone just to take their seal. Maybe they have nothing to do with wars and are using it to help people. At that moment, Izzy gets angry at his words, kicks him to the ground, and tells him, you have no say in anything, and you only have two options. I'll give you until tomorrow to think about what I said, and then we'll see what we'll do with you. She leaves him and walks away. The next day, Izzy goes to his class and introduces herself as the new student. And of course, she did that to keep an eye on Seiji and have him in her sight. During the midday break, they go up to the rooftop to talk. Izzy asks him, what's your answer to what I said yesterday? Will you join us, or will you die now? Seiji responds, how old am I? My first question, and then I'll tell you about what I found. They say to him, come on, tell us what you've got. The first question is, what are these seals and who made them? The second is, why do countries want to retrieve these seals and what might they use them for? Izzy says, these seals are artifacts made from ancient times. No one knows how or when they were made, but the state announced that it has manufactured new weapons. so that no one searches for these seals and uses them to kill people and shed blood. The boy says to her, "Are you kidding me, or what? If no one knows about their existence, how did they spread, and how do you want to retrieve them?" She tells him that after the countries learned about the new weapon and its power, they all became worried that it might be used against them. That's why they sent people from all over the world and stole a large quantity. Our job is to retrieve these seals before the other countries take them, and then war will break out against everyone. If war breaks out with this power, believe me, it will be total destruction. Seiji understands the situation and agrees to help them, saying, "If I feel that you are doing anything to harm people, I will be the first to stand against you." They respond, "All right, man," and then they leave him and walk away. On the other hand, there was a girl who attacked the royal palace and fought everyone there. Her seal has great power, aiming to collect the rest of the seals to take over the state and become the new queen. She tells her assistant, "I found out the location of the Infinity Seal, so I sent 2 of the strongest warriors to kill the owner of that seal and bring it back." He replies, "All right," and it seems something big is about to happen. At that time, Seiji went to Izzy's house, and when he opens the door and lets him in, he expects to find weapons of all kinds. Just like he hears about intelligence members on television, but he doesn't find anything that catches his attention. Izzy calls him and says, "I'm at a nearby hospital doing a few things there. Take Tom with you and ask him anything you want to know, and don't leave until I come to you." He replies, "All right," and hangs up with her. At that moment, Tom tells him, "Go down to the basement. You'll find a box there. Bring it and come back." Seiji leaves him and goes to get it. As soon as he goes down, he is surprised by what he sees in front of him. He finds a spacious area with gym equipment, and it's not just a storage room, it's the place where he learns everything. Meanwhile, Izzy is setting up devices that detect seals, and if someone activates one nearby the hospital, the devices will sense it and send them a signal. Just as she activates them, she finds someone has activated their seal and is standing behind her. She barely has time to look at him before he attacks her and breaks the wall next to her, but fortunately, nothing happened to her. She asks the guy, "Who are you and what brought you here?" He tells her, "Don't you know that the king was killed? I'm Laka, sent by the new queen. I came to kill you and retrieve the rest of the seals." The girl is shocked and realizes they know about the Infinity Seal. He attacks her with all his strength, but she easily deflects his attacks. He gets angry and attacks her again, but she skillfully dodges and tricks him, then descends to the floor below. But he breaks everything around him, thinking she was hit by his attack. At that moment, she breaks the amulet and activates her energy, grabs a stone, turns it into a bomb, and throws it at him, causing an explosion. After that, she leaves him and escapes, heading home because she knows someone will attack Seiji. Indeed, at that moment, there's a knock on the door. Tom goes to open it, but before he reaches it, he finds the door broken and split in two. The surprise is that Toko was the one who did it.
Seiji also comes and sees her in that state, finding her looking at him with eyes full of revenge, wanting to kill him. But what's happening? Let me tell you. A few hours earlier, she was watching Seiji as he came here, feeling that he was betraying her. So she followed him to see where he was going, but she felt relieved when she saw Tom opening the door. She was heading back home, but she was surprised by this girl in front of her, which is one of the queen's traits. She looks at her with suspicious eyes, and the girl doesn't understand what's happening. She approaches her, grabs her by the collar, and starts choking her. Then she uses the power of her tattoo and takes over her body. In other words, this isn't Toko, but rather Tebla in Toko's body. Seiji looks at her puzzled and asks her what's happening to her, asking her to explain. Then he is also called upon angrily, being told to take the blood from the bag and activate his power quickly. Just as he's about to get it, she attacks him. He dodges her with difficulty, not wanting to hurt her because when Toko the girl is in a vulnerable state, he doesn't know what to do to help her. She kicks him, pinning him against the wall, and he can't get up. He finds his shoulder pierced, and he's at his limit. He tries to talk to Toko, but it's Bella who speaks, telling him she can't hear him anymore. She's ready to kill him, and it seems like this is the end for him. At that moment, Toko remembers when he used to protect her from people who bothered her and wouldn't let anyone get close to her. She says no. "I won't let you die." She gathers all her strength and attacks Bella, pushing her away. At that moment, Bella loses her focus and moves away from Seiji, who takes advantage of this to get up and push her away from him. Then he also gathers his strength, activates his seal, and expels Bella from her body. The girl gets angry, draws her weapons, and attacks him again, but Seiji intervenes at the last moment and blocks the strike with his hand. The seal activates, and the girl is terrified as soon as she sees him looking at her with such anger. He tells her, "Get ready because you're going to die." His energy increases, and everyone is startled as soon as they see him. He strikes her with all his might, erasing half the house from his attack. But Bella managed to escape at the last moment and wasn't harmed at all. She stands on the roof of a house next to them and realizes that if she goes down, they will finish her off. So she leaves them and walks away. After that, Taku goes to Seiji, who was in a very difficult state. He tells her, "I'll explain everything to you." But she is worried about him, and she tells him, "Don't worry about it. The most important thing is that you are safe and healthy." Izzy comes and finds half the house missing. And she says, "Did I get the address wrong or what?" But she confirms it's her house when she sees them in front of her. And 3 days after the incident they had recovered from their injuries, Izzy started teaching him how to improve himself and use his seal. And then he becomes as agile as someone of her young age. But her strength is very great and she knows things beyond her level, so she tells him, "I'm not as young as I look. I've been dealing with issues like this for many years, and that's because of the power of my seal. You also need to be careful when using your power, because if you use too much energy, your body won't handle it and you'll die." He says, "All right," and then Tom goes to Toko. And he puts a patch on the spot where the seal was on her head. But where did this tattoo come from? Let me tell you, this tattoo appeared from Bella when she possessed her body, and when she emerged, her body copied these powers. Every time Bella uses her power, Toko's power also increases. It increases, then you go to Izzy and sit with Lisa. You give her a file and tell her that this file contains the names of all the people who used their seals. The state informs you of the king's death and we must prepare ourselves to mourn his passing. But what you don't know is that Bella and his followers were planning how to kill them. And their first target is Lisa, to cut off any supplies reaching them from the state. And indeed, the next day they board the helicopter and go there. Bela descends with her deadly weapon and splits the first person in two. Everyone is shocked and doesn't know how she got there or when. She kills them one after the other and no one can confront her. Lisa activates her seal and attacks her, but Bela easily dodges her attack and counterattacks. Her speed is incredibly fast and she almost hits Lisa. They shoot at her with guns and throw grenades, but none of it affects her at all. She even injures Lizzie and was about to kill her. At the same time, Izzy is informed about everything that happened and immediately activates her seal to go help her. Seiji also senses the activation of the seal and realizes she is in danger, so he goes to help her. But while Izzy is on her way there, she suddenly feels petrified and can't move, falling to the ground. She finds out that he was the one who did it. The device stops the movement of anyone who has activated the seal because they can't walk now. He mocks her and says, "How about you? Die now. Or better yet, I'll let you suffer a little and then kill you." Seiji also goes to her, and surprisingly the device does nothing to him. This is due to the power of the seal she possesses. While he is still talking to her, he notices a big explosion coming from Lisa's location. Izzy teases her and tells Seiji to go quickly. "Save her and don't let anything happen to her, I'm counting on you." He actually listens to her, leaves, and walks away. At that moment, Izzy was hit in the shoulder, but she turns on her to kill her. However, she throws a bomb, causing an explosion among them, which is the explosion we saw earlier. As soon as Seiji arrives there, he is shocked by what he sees. Everyone is killed in a very gruesome way, and their appearance is heart-wrenching. One person was still barely alive, pointing to the situation and telling him to go to Lisa and save her. He goes to look for her and finds her tied up on the roof. Her condition was very severe. At that time, Seiji got very angry. He said to me, "No, you're the one who did this to her. You have to die now." But she tells him, "Go play somewhere else." And she gives him. Ruba was about to fall off the roof and die, but Tom intervened and saved her. Seiji wanted to go back to her, but Tom stopped him, saying, "You are our only hope, Seiji. If they kill you and take your seal, we are as good as dead. You need to use your mind and aim for moments like these." After that, Izzy managed to escape from Laka and went to Lisa to see what happened to her, but she didn't find her. She saw her clothes covered in blood, got very upset, and vowed to bring her back immediately. She summoned Toko and Seiji, and they went to their house. As they were going down to the basement, and Seiji was about to speak, they found Izzy, who said to them, "I will make you live under my control." She protected Tom and said, "I will go save Lisa before anything happens to her." Alot kept shouting because he wanted to go with her, but she didn't listen to him and left. After she left, Seiji was upset and said to Tom, "Why is she doing this? I didn't come here for you to treat me like this." Tom got angry and shouted at him, saying, "If you break the laws of the state and refuse to kill or surrender to the government, you defend your actions and do this to protect you from them. And you're like a donkey wanting to ruin everything," Seiji tells him. "Since she sacrificed all these things to save me, I must help her and stand by her." He breaks the handcuffs on his wrist and attacks Tom, knocking him down with just 2 blows. After that, he leaves but finds the door locked. He uses his power to create a void on it, but it doesn't just break the door, it destroys the entire house with his strength. Then they head to the place where Izzy had set up an ambush with her friends to rescue Lisa, and they are driving in the car. They find her blocking their way. But he gets angry and charges at them. They attack him with guns, but it doesn't affect him. One blow from him takes down the soldiers with her. She says, "Yes, go kill those soldiers, and you finish her off." He says to her, "Alright," and then attacks Izzy with all his might, but the girl dodges his attack and disappears from in front of him. Suddenly, he finds her descending upon them from the sky, hitting him on the head. Despite everything that happened, his injury was very minor. Meanwhile, she was also killing the soldiers, and no one could stop her. She was sweeping through them left and right, and no one could stop her or whoever she encountered. Then, what happened before happens again. Seiji finally arrives with Toko, grabs Kiz's blood, activates his seal, and makes an epic entrance. But unfortunately, he gets knocked down again. Just as he gets back up, Bella attacks him. He skillfully dodges her attacks and even cuts her sword, thinking he accomplished something. But boom, a short man bites him and the container behind him goes for him again, drawing her sword, wanting to kill him. At that moment, he thought, there's no other choice, let's escape now. But as he tries to escape, he keeps getting hit every time he moves to a new spot. He retreats, and at that moment he stops and surrenders to what's in front of him, trying to think about what to do with this problem, but he takes a hit that causes him a serious injury. At that moment he falls, bleeding profusely, screaming from the intense pain, unable to do anything. Taku sees what happened and gets very angry, reacting and attacking Bella, slamming her into the wall behind her. But do you think it would matter to her? No, not at all. She kicks her, sending her flying, and the girl is almost done for. Seiji sees his beloved defending him, gets angry, and screams at the top of his lungs, reactivating his power and healing himself. Bella is about to kill Taku when she finds the ground, collapsing beneath them. They fall beneath, and Seiji takes advantage of it, sending him flying towards Bella and giving her a punch that knocks her out. He saves Taku before anything happens to her, goes to her again, raises his hand, and was about to kill her, but he stops and pulls back at the last moment. He steps away from her, and she realizes his intention. She asks him, "Why didn't you kill me? If I were in your place, I would have killed you without any mercy." Seiji tells her that killing has never been a solution to problems and that returning to the right path is the true end. Suddenly, while they were talking, they notice someone coming up behind them, and it turns out to be the new queen, Arya. The boy is terrified of her and steps back in seconds. She tells him, "Don't worry, I won't kill you. You spared Bella, and that's why they know about you. But if we meet again, who knows what my reaction will be then." She takes Bella and disappears from the scene. On the other side, Yatisotaka was still attacking her. He kicks her, sending her flying. She pulls out a gun and shoots at him, but it doesn't affect him. She enhances the gun with her power and shoots again, and this time the shot impacts him. She tells him to come on, keeping the gun aimed at him until she pushes him to his limit. However, he overpowers her with the strength of the thing he has with him. He immobilizes her like he did before and starts to approach her. Suddenly, a strike sends him flying, and it turns out Lisa did that. She had regained consciousness, freed herself, and came to help. The two of them look at each other, seemingly planning something. And then, the best double strike hits you, my friend, and the time has finally come to an end. But they barely have time to celebrate when Blue Korea arrives, telling them, "Well done, it seems we've lost, so I'll take my leave this time." The kids get angry and refuse to let her leave, but she shows them a glimpse of her power. As soon as everyone sees it, they are shocked. She tells them, "Anyone else want to see something?" The kids freeze in place and she skillfully takes her friends and leaves. And with that, the first part ends. So, what will happen to them? Will they be able to retrieve the remaining seals before the global war breaks out or not? You'll find out in the next episode. If you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe. I entrust you to God, whose trusts are never lost. Stay safe in God's protection.